My name is Ilari Kuittinen, CEO, co-founder of Housemarque, and yes, I'm going to tell little stories about life as a game developer. And we have 22 years to cover in less than 40 minutes, so I need to get going now. So let's see. So I'll talk about a little bit with me and the company. I give you some glimpse of what was the game industry then when we got started and what is now. Are there many game developers, local game developers here? So there are a few. So everybody starts somewhere. So there are certainly three different stages of our company. So we started out in '95. We talk about that, and there was a retail thing. You know, people actually printed boxes and put them on the shelves of the shops. New opportunities, searching new stuff, 2000, 2006, and then consoles, digital opportunities for us started in 2006. So yes, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Housemarque since the beginning. I co-founded the company with Harri Tikkanen, and my first company was called Terramark. We were a small Amiga developer. Co-founder did a company called Bloodhouse. I've been having some sort of a pro bono association work as well. I've been chairman of the board of the first chairman of the board of Game Developers Association in Finland and Neo Games, which is a game cluster. National game cluster in Finland. So we are an independent developer based in Helsinki, Finland. We have about 50 people working, and sort of our purpose as a company is to be a great place to work, be a place where people can develop themselves as a professional, maybe as persons as well. We need to figure out how that's going to work. And obviously we are all about making games, so bring pleasure and joy to our players, give them great experiences that they can't get anywhere else. I next have a bit of excitement going on. I'm going to show a video, let's see how that works. But anyways, a compilation of our games of our first 20 years. We had a 20-year anniversary a couple of years back. So we made a compilation of our games, what we've been worked on, and actually predecessing companies as we have worked on. So actually that's going to show quite big line of development, and you can see that how things have changed over the years, how technology has changed, how many different kind of games we've been working on. So we've been taking some maybe some risks as an independent developer. Never really worked on the sequel of a game immediately after releasing one game. So maybe we're a bit stupid that way, but you know, here we go. Let's see how this video works. Okay, that's 20 years in 3 minutes. So when we got started, you know, we were actually the first company, with the oldest company, with Remedies, few months younger than us. So we had basically in the game industry 20, 30 people, us and Remedy guys. So we just wanted to make games. Obviously now Finland is a powerhouse in gaming, especially mobile. We have lots of very successful companies. Obviously Supercell, Rovio, but other guys as well, Remedy, Red Links and so on. So this quite diverse industry we have there. And obviously, you know, when we started, there wasn't basically internet. I think the first browser started to happen when we got started. And I remember doing the first deals, sending faxes and all that shit. So you print fax and then, you know, print first your fax and then kind of fax it over. That was very advanced then. And now obviously there's an explosion of opportunities. The industry probably has grown 15 times, 20 times since we got started. It was a few billion dollar industry back then, and now it's like 100 billion or more. And then obviously there wasn't any funding opportunities other than go to the publisher to beg for money. And now obviously there are plenty of other sources of funding available. So starting up, we certainly start up as a retail game developer. So, and this letter contained the first deal early June '95, and it was a massive deal. We got £71,000 to make a game called Alienation. So we had two companies, Bloodhouse and Terramark, joining forces back in '95, and for some reason we didn't choose to call ourselves Terra Blood or Blood Marquee, so we ended up being Housemarque. So we had a kind of the first game is something that probably people wouldn't believe today. We had a point-and-click adventure. Then we got you know, back to Stardust. Co-founder Harri had done a Stardust game for Amiga earlier, and our first game out actually was Super Stardust on PC. So that's how we got started, and kind of is one of the first game of long string of shoot 'em ups and arcade games we've been doing over the years. And we certainly didn't know what we would do. You know, this kind of an indie mentality there. It was really nice just to get to do the games, and that was kind of the only thing we were thinking of. And the interesting thing was that back in Finland back then there wasn't any kind of any examples of smaller studios doing games, or it's actually doing any IT stuff or anything. So there were kind of the landscape was dominated by big companies. So there weren't any examples of smaller companies doing international games. So we then moved on. We actually had a few snowboarders. So of course after point-and-click adventure and a couple of shoot 'em ups, we did a snowboarding game. And but that was because we really did have snowboarders there, and it was a up-and-coming kind of a sports back in late '90s. And it was also our first third-person game. And it was a kind of a great success at that time, sold hundreds of thousands of copies. We retail, and then we got all great OEM deals, like we were, you know, game was included in the Colex, Karelia boxes and all that sort of things. So probably quite a few people played that game. And then, you know, we see, you know, snowboarding game on PC isn't the right platform so we got into the console games. And Transworld Snowboarding was our first console game. Actually, it's the first Finnish developed console game as well. So we got this chance to do an early Xbox game, which actually was previously a Dreamcast project. But as people who know what happened to Sega Dreamcast console, we were lucky enough to get our project transferred from Dreamcast into Xbox. But yeah, we kind of had a console experience back then, but then our publisher got into lots of trouble back in 2002. And this is the one lesson I want to tell you. Always it's not easy, but you need to try to diversify your risks. So we were kind of doing this one game. Actually, we were agreeing to do a sequel already back in summer 2002. But then a couple months later, Infogrames/Atari got into really big trouble, and they kind of cut our game there. There we were without any further games. And what was kind of the bad part for us, that we weren't preparing enough to do business development. So we didn't have any concepts ready to pitch to other publishers, because we were thinking that we just continue doing a sequel for this game as agreed. And those were kind of they started the bit tough years, especially later in 2004 and 2005, and it was eventually 2006. So we certainly downsized quite a bit, went from 27 to 12 people. But the key was that we were one project company, very vulnerable, and then we didn't have a further enough business development that we did to pitch for other publishers, and that we try to fix. But I go back a little bit. We tried something else at the same time. So we actually spun off one of the first mobile gaming company in Finland back in 2000 called Spring Toys. And back then you started to have venture funding available, so we got a good start with that. But as you can see from those advanced graphics there, I think it was a bit early for mobile companies back then. And we did another try, actually, 2004 and 2006. It was kind of trying to pay the bills and try to find out if there are any markets there. As you can see, it was way too early that as well. So it's now 10 years since iPhone was released and 9 years since we got the App Store. So basically, I feel that if you would have survived around that time, then you might have a chance to build a great mobile gaming company. But certainly it was way too early, and our heart wasn't into that well. We did quite a few different things. Here's some examples. We also did some handheld work. For instance, this motocross game was released. Well, at least 10 copies released in Gizmondo, if anybody knows that sort of a device. But anyways, we were kind of investigating stuff, and actually this bowling game was pretty fun, but that wasn't released. But the Narnia game was kind of the sort of a biggest game there. And now this time, we understood that we need to do quite a lot of concept work. So, for instance, we got this kind of Chinese, furry concept called Furry Dragons, where a mechanical girl is riding dragons to find the spirit of robots. So, and then Fist, as you can see, there's a joke there. We did a kids karaoke game, back in try to do that. We had a third-person action adventure. We did lots of work on that. We built the PlayStation 2 engine, and I think at the time, I just objectively speaking, I think it was up to par with the God of War engine back then, but we couldn't sell it. So for some reason, we couldn't sell anything, just the small stuff. And certainly this was kind of a couple years, especially 2004, 5, 6. So we did quite a lot of different things. The good part was that we did games all the time, and we developed some ideas, and we kind of benefited from that. For instance, you can benefit from this. We did, in 2006, most of our coders spent their summer in Amsterdam and did optimization and stuff for Killzone Liberation and made it run. It was running like 10 frames per second, and we made it run properly. But anyways, you can need to do all kinds of stuff, and actually this led to, I think, put good word towards the Sony guys, and then new opportunities start to arise. So basically, that meant that the digital channels for console games started to happen, and it was kind of a breakthrough moment for us, which helped us to survive, and we knew that our abilities and the things that we can do are very well suitable to do these smaller downloadable games. And here we are, Superstars HD, which was actually released 10 years ago. So that started the great collaboration with Sony, and I think we have done 7 games with them over the past 10 years. So 3 Superstars games and a few others. We're gonna show you some of them here. So we were basically there very early on, and we basically had our kind of our Geometry Wars moment. I remember Geometry Wars was actually the game that when I was playing this in Christmas 2005. Oh man, we can do these kind of things. Smaller, focused games and digitally distributed that can be offered via internet to the consumers. So we started to do these games, and boy, we did do this, did those. So for instance, at the beginning, Superstars was a great commercial and critical success, Metacritic 85. And we follow up with a couple others, Superstars games, and Dead Nation. Again, well received. Like I think we are most proud of that. The gamers kind of voted that the best exclusive of 2011. So we really kind of started doing collaboration with Sony, but also we looked for other opportunities. So we didn't put all the eggs in one basket, but we searched for other opportunities. So for instance, we did a game called Outland with Ubisoft, and that was, again, is it risky or not? We never had done any platformer. Well, we did one. I think it kind of turned out very well. Metacritic 84. So there was some other things like GameSpot chose it as the best digital download game of the year, a quick console download game of the year. IGN chose it as the best PlayStation 3 download game. Okay, maybe running out of battery. Let's see. So we diversified, and then even more. Our friends at Rovio wanted to have a console version of Angry Birds, but we did Xbox and PlayStation 3 version. So there was a kind of opportunity there, and we had time to do it. So it's kind of was very good and profitable game for us. Yep. Okay, I'm rushing through here. So then obviously comes PlayStation 4. So we were kind of the guys who were known for obviously these digitally downloadable games. Actually, just in case, I plug in my computer, so I don't. These two, thanks. So obviously, this was a big thing for us. We got the timing right, and as you can see, it was the highest critically acclaimed PlayStation 4 games almost 18 months after the launch. So we were obviously pretty pleased about the reception of the game, and it was quite successful. There was Jacob was here actually earlier, rush in there. For instance, we won the Nordic Game of the Year award back in 2014. So we were again got quite nice acclaim. IGN chose our game as the best PlayStation 4 game during the launch window. We were nominated as a kind of the best action game of the year at DICE Awards, which is kind of a gaming Oscars. They are held in Las Vegas every year. So we were again making a name for ourselves, and this was obviously good times. We were kind of growing all the time since Outland. We started with 25, 30 people and grew like towards the 50, 55. And one of the games we did again is a top-down shooter, but we added quite a lot of things into this Alienation. So, for instance, here we learned quite a bit how to make a loot and grind game loop. So we have quite a lot of stuff that you can customize there, and you can modify your weapons. We have persistent online universe in which players are engaged in. So again, we did something little bit different, top-down shooter like Dead Nation, but added quite a lot of stuff there. And 4-player online co-op was one of them. So gained quite a lot of experience on that. So as you can see, we got some really good reviews as well, and at least one award. Taiga, the Independent Game Association in England, gave us the award for, was it best action game or something like that. So everything was kind of going quite nicely, and there was always have been a big dream for us that since we started this digital, doing digital consoles. So we wanted to make self-published games as well. And I remember we were actually finding financing back in autumn 2008. We had pretty good meetings already. There were people interested in hearing what's that all about, and we're thinking that hey, we could raise money to do these things. But then these Lehman Brothers collapsed in the autumn, and actually all the discussions about that were kind of cancelled. Every meeting we had booked like half a dozen or something like, or dozen or half a dozen, they were cancelled because people in the money industry were totally in panic. So we didn't do that then, back in 2008, but we did that like this year. So we got a chance to do a self-published game, our first self-published PC, a PlayStation 4 game called Nex Machina, and that's a kind of an interesting story that we were actually working together with this industry legend who had done coin-op games like Defender, Robotron, Smash TV, and as our Resogun was kind of inspired by the Defender, our Nex Machina was at the beginning thought to be a sort of a spiritual successor of Robotron and Smash TV. So that was kind of a big thing, that it took so many years for us to actually do it. That was it may take quite a lot of time, but luckily we got a chance to do it, and we're so proud of the results. So this was part of the strategy, that we hopefully get more into these things, that most of the games we've done with Sony, for instance, or anybody else, are owned by publisher. So we have been doing great games, but all the kind of potential upside is going towards the publishers' coffins. So let's just show this dream project, what this dream project looked like. And here's the launch video of it, which was actually, the game was announced during the PlayStation experience in San Jose, I think, and last December. And we are partners. Sony were kind enough to include that in their keynote speech. So here you go. Here's what's Nex Machina is all about. Okay, this game, by the way, is playable at the Hall 5. Is it Indie booth or booths or something like that? Across the Monster Energy booth. So if you haven't seen that, you could go and check it out. So yes, the game has been the best reviewed game of what we made. Metacritic is 88, which is pretty amazing. We got so many different great reviews, like Essential from Eurogamer and EGM, I think 90, and all those great reviews. Obviously, the the reception has been really great. Hopefully there are more and more fans who could buy it, but that's another thing. But at least it was a great pleasure to work with Mr. Eugene Jarvis. You know, the guy is in his 60s and still like full of energy and super crazy guy and fun to hang out with. So we were actually giving a DICE Europe talk in Cascais, Portugal. So we were having fire chat talk with Eugene Jarvis and Harry Kruger, who was the game director of the game, and you know, Eugene just gives his hard stopping moments, like he started like this, that what is the worst in Las Vegas than to meet with the hooker? Like, what? Meet with game developers at lobby bar and talk with games. So he's such a crazy. He can be going all around. So he's pretty crazy guy. But we were lucky enough to work with with him. And actually, we have been. What is quite unique about this collaboration, that we have had a documentary project going on since basically the beginning of the project. So we have filmed. It kind of started as a bit of a glorified making of video project, but it has kind of started to live life on its own. The guys who are doing the documentary are finishing that off right now. They actually got great funding for the documentary, so it's going to be a full-blown documentary, hopefully coming out later this year. I don't know how they're going to distribute it, but that's kind of a unique look at the game development and at the process, which is, I think, funny story to be told. There's quite a lot of nakedness because we go to sauna and we drink alcohol in there. So if you're afraid of bare butts, you shouldn't go to watch it. Okay, then we go. Actually, it's pretty funny that our project planning wasn't that great, because we actually finished 2 games during this summer. So we got another game out called Matterfall. This is for Sony, and Sony PlayStation 4 exclusive game. Again, you know, obviously we had done a platforming game. We are kind of try to explore this formula that combining platforming and shoot 'em up games. Obviously, shoot 'em up is the kind of what we are known for. And this was released just a month ago, and again, it's quite different. So we certainly have been trying to explore quite a few different things. So let me show what it's all about. Here you know what I'm bubbling about it. Okay, so again something different. So it's soon time to wrap up. I just have rushed through 22 years in 30 minutes. So here's some of the things that we have learned. Obviously, as you have seen, you know, we've been working on quite a few different things over the years. So you need to try to change over time and try to find your strengths, obviously, and think about how you apply those strengths to other stuff as well. What is interesting at the moment is that you can have multiple different kind of relationships. At the beginning, basically, if you wanted to get the game out, you just had a relationship with the publisher, and publisher took care of everything. So you just have one kind of a relationship if you wanted to get your game on the shelves of the stores. But now, for instance, our collaboration with Eugene Jarvis is one example. But I think you can have lots of collaborations between developers nowadays, co-development, and all that kind of things. It makes this much more interesting and varied than it was like 20 years back. And yeah, well, we've been taking risks for sure. It's always, I think the bad thing when you try to do a game in a new genre, it always takes more time. So that's a kind of the big risk that if you go from one genre to another, it might take additional, I don't know, 6, 8, 10, 12, whatever months, instead of doing a proper like sequel of some game that you know and just add something and do a little bit of innovation. It's always kind of take time to do that, so you need to be careful about that. But the reason why we have been doing this is that we were kind of back in 2002 after making 2 snowboarding games, we were sort of a pigeonholed into this place that, hey, these guys can do only that. And we sort of have proven that we've been able to do quite a few different kinds of games after that thing. So we were kind of viewed as a certain kind of developer. So we certainly wanted to shake that thing off. And that means that we have been doing, keep on trying new things, done all kind of different stuff. So again, that's what we have been doing, and I think all comes down to the one fact that what we try to do is put the game first. So the game is king, everything else in details. And what is interesting now is that actually, again, what's next? I can't really comment more than it's going to be again something different. So we're going on to new horizon, finding new, doing something different that we haven't done before. So I think I'm done. Thanks for listening. If you have any questions, I'm here for a few minutes. So thank you. Thanks a lot.